All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Wednesday edition here, Kirby's Weather Snapshot. I guess it's not really called that today, but this is going to be pretty laid back here. I have a few things I'm going to talk about, of course, but we're just going to kind of take it slow and easy here. There's nothing crazy about this. That's a good thing about doing this. We can just kind of go at our own flow and figure out how I want to do stuff here. So I want to start off with the current radar. This is 4:36 p.m. here, coming up on 4:37, and we can see widespread moderate to light rainfall across the area, especially Shelbyville, Lewisburg, over to Columbia, getting in on some of the rainfall right now. Over towards Manchester, Altamont. A little bit drier down here in Franklin County, but still getting in on some of the scattered rainfall there as well. And this will continue for a couple more hours here. We can see over the past, we'll go past 30 minutes or past hour, and we can see the rain pushing off towards the west. And here's kind of the back edge of the precip right now is coming into western Murray County. So likely won't rain for the whole nighttime hour, right, into the nighttime hours, but we are going to be dealing with at least a couple scattered showers as the afternoon and evening continues to roll on here. So this is just what we're doing right now, just looking at the radar here. So we're going to go over. I'm going to have to look over a few times because I have my stuff over here on this screen, but I have a few stuff I want to look at here. First, we're going to start off with the weather headlines over the next few days here. The potential exists for a very impactful winter storm across southern middle Tennessee. Ice, sleet, snow, and even some plain Jane rain will be possible across the area. We're going to talk about that and the uncertainty that exists with this current forecast package that I have put together here. Okay, so a lot can and will change between today and tomorrow's update, so keep that in mind. But overall, this is what I'm thinking when it relates to the current forecast. So, Winter Storm Watch was issued this morning by the National Weather Service in Huntsville and in Nashville. We can see here all this dark blue is winter or our winter storm watches that are in effect. And if we zoom out here, look at how expansive these winter storm watches are here. Extend all the way from West Virginia almost to Maryland and come all the way out to New Mexico and even to Arizona. Okay, so this is going to be a very impactful wide winter storm here over the next few days. It's going to start off around Friday morning in the Arizona area, and then come across here into the mid South and then southern middle Tennessee, and then go up the eastern seaboard there towards New York City and Boston, places like that up to our north. So winter storm watch currently in effect, and this goes until Sunday at 6 o'clock p.m. This will likely be upgraded to winter weather advisory, winter storm warning, or even potentially an ice storm warning. Okay, which is very, very rare, but there is potential for that as well. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide here. So really, the thing that I'm going to be watching, hopefully it'll move. Come on. There we go. So really what I'm going to be watching here is the track of the low pressure, okay? The track of the low pressure is going to make or break the forecast. I want to say that again. The track of the low pressure is going to mean the difference between more snow, sleet, ice, and then the potential for maybe a very impactful ice storm and some normal rain. Okay, so the southern track, you can see the southern low pressure kind of follows right along the Gulf Coast region into Louisiana, the Gulf Coast around Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then starts to curve back up to the northeast. And that keeps the low very far away from us, okay? So that keeps the warm, moist air from wrapping around the low pressure up into our area and keeps us as all frozen precipitation. So we're going to be completely below freezing if the low stays far enough south. Now, if we get a low pressure that forms further north and comes up, let's say, between Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, and up towards Dalton, Georgia, and then up into the Appalachian Mountains, that would mean more ice, so more of an ice storm risk and possibility of some plain Jane normal rain. Okay, so maybe some above freezing temperatures, even if that low pressure comes far enough north. Now, why are the models kind of disagreeing here on the placement of this low pressure? Well, it all has to do with a high pressure system that is located over the far northern U.S. near the Canadian border in Minnesota and North Dakota, where that high pressure is a lot stronger. Right, that means the low will be suppressed further south. But if the high pressure is less significant, then the low pressure will be able to turn north a little bit more quickly. Okay, so something we're going to keep in mind over the next few days, and a lot of the data over the past 24 hours has been shifting north, so giving us a little more ice and a little bit more normal rainfall across the region. But if you've been with me over the past few days here, you know that I have not mentioned specific snowfall totals. I know some weather apps, I don't know why you don't have mine downloaded, but I've seen some screenshots of some weather apps that the Weather Channel app and the stock iPhone app was showing, upwards of 20, 25 inches of snow this weekend, which is just ridiculous. But needless to say, in all that rambling there, I have not put out a specific snowfall forecast. I didn't even say that we were going to get an all big old snowstorm, right? I was saying that, there's a good possibility we were going to see some snow, but also I knew that there was a possibility that we could get on some ice as well. And this could be a very impactful ice storm for a good portion of Middle Tennessee here. And we're going to get into that right now. So starting off here, we're going to look at the Barron weather model. Okay, this is my weather model that I have. I'm going to stop it there. Sorry. So this is a weather model that I have within my computer software here at the Duck River Electric Weather Center. It's a proprietary model, and it kind of shows more of a warm air solution, right? Where that low pressure track is a little bit further north into our area, okay? So this is 4 o'clock p.m. on Friday, already seeing some scattered light snow showers and maybe some plain rain too moving into the region, but that will quickly transition over to some sleet, freezing rain, and you can see with temperatures in the low to mid 20s, this is all going to be frozen and it's all going to stick, whatever falls from the sky here. I do believe that this model is a little bit early with the transition time, but overall, I think this is a pretty good, pretty good estimate here on what I'm seeing. So Saturday, 2 o'clock a.m., we get a little bit of a break, but then you can see already starting to see a little bit of green start showing up there in Franklin County up towards Grundy County. That's some of that plain Jane rain starting to move back into the forecast. And then as we go deeper in time here, that green starts to expand even further. Here's Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m., and then we go forward in time here. We get a little bit of a break, and then it starts coming in big time where we get a warm pocket of air where that low gets really close. That low pressure starts to get really close to us, and it's going to bring us more of the plain rain, right? 33 degrees and pouring down rain in Shelbyville is Sunday at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, that's a better solution than seeing a full-on ice storm, right? But the temperature margins are going to be so close, right? 33 degrees in rain or 32 degrees and freezing rain, right? I mean, this is going to be razor thin margins across the area here if this specific model does end up playing out. We can see here, though, we don't get much higher than 34, 35 degrees. And into the day on Sunday, we still get a lot of rain. And finally, we come to an end of this specific weather model, and we're still all rain Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Okay, so, I personally, I think that this is overdone, the amount of warm air. I mean, this has the warm air pocket going all the way up into West Virginia, okay? And right now, I just think that that's a little too far north from where I think that, if we do get any warm pocket of air, it's most likely going to be in Franklin and Coffee, maybe Grundy counties on the Cumberland Plateau as well. And the further west you go, the better chance you have of this staying all snow or all sleet, all freezing rain, right? So just something to keep in mind. This is not a forecast. I'm not telling you it's going to rain all day on Sunday, but this is an interesting trend that I've seen over the past 24 hours here, where a lot of the models have been showing a warm pocket of air with that low pressure system moving closer to us. Now, the hurricane hunters that fly into hurricanes, the NOAA hurricane hunters, are actually flying planes into this parent low pressure system as it comes in off the coast of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so hopefully by tonight, some of our weather models will begin to ingest some data from the hurricane hunters as they sample the atmosphere around this low pressure system as it comes in off the Pacific. And hopefully, in return, it'll give us a lot better data to work with for tomorrow. But for today, we have two different scenarios, okay? So now it's time to show you the scenario where the low is further south, okay? So this time, the low is going to be closer to the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America and just a little bit further towards the south. And this is starting off here at 4 p.m. on Friday. And we're going to go forward in time here as we go Saturday morning. Starting off is all snow here. Saturday, 6:30 a.m., all snow across the region. As we go forward in time here, we start to transition over into a mix of snow and sleet, freezing rain. And as we go forward in time here, Saturday, 1 o'clock p.m., and this mixture will just kind of stay fairly steady, but move up just a little bit. So some freezing rain, a little bit further north you go. Saturday, 9 o'clock p.m., a little bit more freezing rain. And then a little bit of rain tries to sneak in, but not very much before we transition back over to all rain and potentially some snow too. So this is the American model showing a lot more wintry precip. We don't really ever transition over to full-blown rain with the American model run, okay? Now, do I think that this is 100% accurate? I don't. I think that there are quirks with every model, and there's none that are going to be 100% accurate, but a lot of them are going to be helpful, okay? And the future cast for GFS, the American model, shows us a potential scenario where we could have some, wintry precip, some snow, some sleet, some freezing rain, stuff like that for a prolonged period. And I'm going to restart this here so you can see we're starting off here at 6:30 a.m. with the GFS model, where the snow really starts to take off and we have the wintry weather moving in. And as we go further, so starting off at 6:30 a.m. on Saturday, and this doesn't move out until 9:30 p.m. that night. That is almost 36 hours. I don't know the math right off the top of my head, but it's somewhere right around 36 hours of pretty much constant precipitation. So what we can take away right now is this is going to be a massive system, okay? This is going to take up a large area of the United States as it pushes through. And with that, we need to keep in mind that we are going to have precipitation, whether it's snow, sleet, freezing rain, or plain Jane rain, for an extended period of time. And we need to be prepared for big time impacts, because if this all turns into a freezing rainstorm and we are below freezing the whole time, we don't get any warm pocket of air, this would be a devastating ice storm for southern Middle Tennessee. And I do not say that lightly, folks. I do not say that lightly. This could be a devastating ice storm. On the other hand, we could be a little bit colder, have a little bit more snow, have a little bit more sleet, or we could have some plain Jane rain like the Barron model was showing just a second ago. The margins are going to be so razor thin, and right now we just don't have enough solutions to work with here to lean one way or another. Now, my current thinking, with what I think about everything going on right now, is that we will have a short period of above freezing temperatures, especially the further south and east you go in our area. So Grundy County, Franklin County, Coffee County, Moore County, parts of Bedford County could see potentially some time above freezing, especially late Saturday night into Sunday, where we melt some of the precipitation that is accumulated on the ground, and it just kind of turns into a slushy mess, right? But even if we do see rain, at the end of the day, all of this is going to refreeze. Any moisture that's left on the roads, even with rain, is going to refreeze into black ice, and travel is going to be treacherous on Monday morning, regardless on whether we get rain, sleet, snow, anything in between. The travel is going to be very treacherous on Monday morning with black ice and everything else. So just keep that in mind that, no matter what, this is going to be a very significant winter event for our area. Now it's time to have some fun here real quick here. We're going to look at the freak out meter for today. So I decided to keep it, all right, after looking at all the data earlier today, I decided to keep it at, okay, this may actually happen, okay? So we had really good consistency in the model data earlier this week, showing snow, sleet, freezing rain, everything in between. But I'm going to keep it at, okay, this may happen, right? I'm sure most people have already gotten the milk and bread and probably some Jack too. But I still think that right now, just due to the potential of the warm nose kind of inching in, we could have, maybe some lesser impact when it comes to this winter storm. Now, if we end up getting a bunch of ice and everyone's below freezing for this entire event for the whole 36 to 48 hours that precipitation is falling from the sky, we're going to have issues, really big issues. Okay, so hopefully in the next 24 hours we are going to start to gain a little bit more confidence in the overall forecast. But at least for right now, we still have some uncertainty that we need to work out as we go forward in time. And a lot of the Nashville stations and Huntsville stations are, but I don't know if the Nashville stations are really going to be talking much about the potential for plain rain across southern Middle Tennessee. But I wanted to let you know about it. I want you to be aware about it. I want you to see what I'm seeing, right? Not necessarily the raw model output, but just what I'm having to deal with. And, I feel like that builds confidence between me and the people I'm trying to forecast for, being able to see some of the differences in the model guidance, because I'm sure you're looking at this data too and saying, what in the world is going on, right? Like, why is there such a big difference? So I think it's good that we have, or that I'm able to show this stuff to you, so that it's you can make informed decisions for yourself too, right? Because I think that's a big part of this, is making some informed decisions for yourself. So let's go ahead and look at tonight here. Overnight tonight, going to have lows in the mid 40s or so. It's not going to get below freezing tonight. Rain showers 5 p.m. I think it's still raining right now outside. I can hear it pitter pattering on the roof there. 49 degrees. 8 p.m. chance of rain showers 45, and 11 p.m. cloudy and 44 degrees across the area. Now let's go ahead and look at the next 7 days here. This is where the forecast gets a little tricky. Okay, so Thursday, 50 degrees for the high, partly mostly cloudy skies for most of the day. 20% chance of rain on Friday. Okay, 40 degrees for the high, and then Saturday, 100% chance of showers or 100% chance of mixed precipitation, whether that's snow, sleet, rain, freezing rain, everything in between, winter storm. I currently have a high in Shelbyville of 32 degrees, but this is an average from west to east of our whole entire area, right? So the average is right around 33 degrees for the high on Saturday. That could go up or down depending on the low track. Keep that in mind, okay? Sunday, 70% chance of showers, snow showers, sleet showers, freezing rain showers, anything in between. 32 degrees for the high on Sunday. And then you can see once we get into early next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to stay at or just below freezing, right? And Wednesday, we're actually probably going to have another chance for some precipitation too. But it does look very, very chilly into early next week. So any impacts we have on the area roads, especially secondary roads, back roads, country roads, probably not going to see very much improvement until later on next week, okay? So generally, what I'm saying to you right now is that there is a lot of uncertainty, okay? There is a ton of uncertainty as it relates to the exact forecast and playing out of this event. This was never a full-on snowstorm for us here, folks, okay? I know that you got your hopes up looking at these big fancy weather maps and, all this other stuff, but I've never once shared anything about snow as it relates to how much we're going to get. I did share probabilities earlier this week, but nothing about how much we're going to get, right? So I think this is a good reminder, especially as we move deeper into this forecast period and closer to the event, that we need to make sure that we're listening to, uh, you know, um, confident sources and good sources for your weather information, whether that be, TV news is fairly confident and good. And also area radio stations are fairly good with their weather information as well. And then on top of that, the National Weather Service is a great source for weather information. Okay. So make sure that you're getting your weather information from a primary source, from an actual meteorologist. Okay. Because there's, some kid sitting in his basement, in his mom's basement, making a snowfall map showing that we're going to get 24 inches of snow. No, we're not getting 24 inches of snow. Okay. It's just not going to happen. I think I saw a post on the Shelbyville group the other day that was someone saying that it was a snow apocalypse or something, and we were going to get like 13 inches or something in Shelbyville. I don't know where that even came from. It was some weather app. Um, but either way, that's enough ranting for me today. If you can't tell, I'm stressed out enough. But this is anyway. I think that, what we can come away with is just make sure that you're following good, reliable sources for weather information. Okay. Now, there's a lot that we still need to figure out. Like I said, with the warm nose, where the low pressure tracks, if we get any rain, how much are we talking? How is it going to impact everything? That's stuff that we will figure out as we get the short range model data in over the next 24 to 48 hours. But for the time being, at least right now, this far out, we just, we're just waiting and watching the new data roll in as it comes. Okay. So now I'm going to let y'all, I have my stuff here or I have my stuff here, my phone here, and I'm going to look at y'all's comments. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Um, I'll try to answer them here on Facebook for a little bit at least. Um, And like I said, this very well is looking like it will be a very impactful ice event, because either way, we're going to start off with frozen precipitation. Even with the warm nose that comes in later on, we're going to start off with frozen precipitation. So we're all going to have impacts throughout the area starting out this event late Friday night into early Saturday morning. Now, as we go on through the day on Saturday, could we get above freezing in a few areas? That's where we have some question marks, right? But I can be fairly confident in saying right now that everyone will have wintry impacts early Saturday morning or late Friday night as this system starts to start off, right? Could have some snowflakes, could have some sleet. I'm thinking probably more sleet and snow to start out compared to freezing rain. But again, it'll all depend on the track of that low. And right now, it's just all over the place. It's all over the place. So the exact timing for Friday for it starting is still up in the air, pun intended, but it looks like it's going to be late Friday evening and into the overnight hours, possibly even early Saturday morning. So right now, if I was to give a very general time frame of the start time, it would have to be sometime probably between 6 p.m. on Friday and 6 a.m. on Saturday. Okay, somewhere in that time frame is when we'll start getting frozen precipitation into the region, and this is coming out of the southwest. Okay, so first communities up to get hit are going to be Mount Pleasant, Columbia, up into Cornersville, Lewisburg, Chapel Hill, and then it'll spread up and towards the east, and then finally reaching up on the Cumberland Plateau later on a Saturday morning. I do believe Courtney asked a good question here. So she asked, "Do you think tomorrow we will have more concrete answers as far as timing and precipitation type?" I do. I think that as we get new data in, more short range model data, we will be able to be more confident in the overall timing and intensity and precipitation types. But I believe that tomorrow will really start to hone in, and maybe even we could create some accumulation graphics as well tomorrow. If the confidence increases any with or between the model data, and we start getting some agreement. But as you can see from the data I just showed you a minute ago, I mean, if any of y'all feel like you can make a forecast off that, go ahead, because I mean, there is just night and day with the potential impacts between the Barron model and the American GFS model here. So I'll be live at 4:30 again tomorrow. 4:30 again tomorrow for the live stream. And I'll run through these models one more time here. So this is the Barron model. This is the low pressure a little bit further towards the north, okay? A little bit further towards the north and a little bit more warmer air moving in. And this one is fairly early with the onset of precipitation sometime between 3 and 5 p.m. I think this is early. But as you can see, as the evening goes on, we start to get widespread precipitation into early Saturday morning. And with temperatures in the low to mid 20s off to the northwest in our northwestern areas and a little bit closer to freezing down towards Franklin County, most of this is going to be frozen starting off. But you can see the greens start to get larger. The green on the map start to get bigger here as we get further into Saturday. And finally, by Saturday night, it really starts to grow and expand. And we're looking at pretty much all rain across the area, according to the Barron model. Now, I don't think that this is 100% accurate. In my opinion, I think that this is overdoing the warm nose. The available warm air is being overdone by a pretty substantial amount, but still, it's one of the potential, the potential solutions that I'm watching. Now, the American GFS model, this one here does not have a great track record, so don't get your hopes up too much about this, but it's been fairly consistent with keeping the rain off to the south here. So it starts off 6, 7 a.m. on Saturday morning is all snow, and then as we go deeper into Saturday, start to get more of that sleet, freezing rain mixed in. But as you can see, the rain stays off to our south of the Alabama state line, right? Just keep on having sleet or freezing rain, ice, and then we get a good little bit of snow there before it starts to clear out after 10 p.m. on Sunday. So, key takeaways right now, this is going to be a giant system. It's going to last for 36 to 48 hours. Um, Another key takeaway, it's uncertain on the exact type of precipitation we're going to see. I think that this being a full-on snowstorm is out of the question at this point. I don't think that we're going to see a trend far enough south where we see a full on snowstorm, but the ice storm potential is very much real. Okay. That is the next key takeaway. The ice storm potential is very real for southern Middle Tennessee. And I want to stress that a lot. Okay. I'm not trying to scare anybody, not trying to hype something up. And I don't have any stock in the grocery store. Okay. I wish I did. I'd be making a lot of money right now, but I don't. So, you know, just make sure that you know that I'm not trying to hype up anything, or I'm not trying to sound doom and gloom. And I don't get ratings with this. This is not a TV station. I don't get ratings like a TV station does. I could say that it's gonna be 70 degrees and sunny tomorrow, and I'm sure that I'll still have 200 to 500 people watch a live stream tomorrow of me talking about it being sunny. Okay, so at the end of the day, I don't get ratings off this. I don't, I don't have any stock in making this sound doom and gloom. Okay, but what I do want you to realize is that the threat for extreme impacts from a potential ice storm is increasing. Okay, and especially in Murray County, Marshall County, Bedford County, places like that. So keep that in mind that a substantial ice storm is on the way for someone in Middle Tennessee. Is it going to be right over top of us, or are we going to miss it with the rain? I'm not sure, but someone in Middle Tennessee is in for a very substantial and potentially catastrophic ice storm, unfortunately, this weekend. So if anyone else has any other questions here, um, oh, yes. So my freak out meter, I'll show that again, Miss Connie. So my freak out meter here is still at a level 3. Okay, this may actually happen. I decided not to move it up just because the inconsistency with the model data over the past 24 hours, I just didn't feel comfortable moving it back up, or moving it up one more tick. But I still think that this is going to happen. We're going to have some wintry impacts of some kind, potentially um, some major impacts from winter weather. But just the fact that we do have a little bit of a little bit of warm air sneaking into the forecast, I decided to skip out on going up another notch. But people have already got their milk and bread from what I've been able to gather. So I don't think that me taking it up a notch is going to change anyone's opinion on the freak out meter. So unfortunately, Ethan, it does look like that the snow in Winchester is looking less and less likely. I mean, I still think that we're going to see some snowflakes during this event, but it's not going to be 24 to 48 inches like some crazy people were saying on Facebook earlier this week. I have no idea, but I think that I think that at least an inch is not out of the equation at all. But in terms of this being a major snowstorm, unfortunately I just don't see it. I would love to see a good snowstorm, but unfortunately this looks like a ice storm, sleet storm, and potentially some rain too mixed in. So if anyone's wondering why I haven't said any forecast totals yet, it's because we still have some uncertainty with the exact track of the system. I'll bring this up one more time here, showing the low pressure get low. The track means everything. Further south the low goes, further south the low pressure center goes, the more likely we're going to see snow, freezing rain, sleet. But the further north the track comes, the more likely we're going to see plain rain, and then eventually, some freezing rain and sleet in some areas. But um, and you think that our forecast is crazy? I'll talk Birmingham, right? So the European model that's really was the first one to get on board with this northern low kind of tracking up further north. Um, on yesterday morning, yeah, on a Tuesday morning, it had the high temperature in Birmingham on Saturday at 32 degrees. Okay, so they were expecting a big old ice storm. All right, the European model today at this morning when the last time the model ran, it has it up to 60 degrees in Birmingham as a high temperature on Saturday. So you want to talk about how crazy this swing in the forecast has been for us. You go talk to the folks down in Birmingham, because I mean it's been fairly insane how much it has shifted over the past 24 hours here. It's kind of unprecedented in my opinion, but I'm still keeping an eye on it here, and there's a lot we still need to figure out. We're still over 48 hours away, and I do see the potential is there for this to trend back south a little tick or two over the next few days. I think it's a little bit too far north, in my opinion, right now. So there's a good chance it ticks a little bit further south over the next 48 hours or so, and I'll be sure to keep everyone updated on this as we get closer. So, in terms of travel issues, travel impacts are going to be very, very possible, if not likely, on Saturday and Sunday. Now, we could have a little bit of normal rain, but for the most part, I believe that there will be widespread travel impacts across the area on both Saturday and Sunday. So, take that as you will. Now, of course, the travel impacts will, or it depends on your comfort, your confidence level, or how comfortable you feel getting out in the ice. Whether or not you're going to be driving out in it. But I think that there, at least for around here, there will be widespread travel impacts on Saturday and Sunday, especially if we don't get any of that rain, the plain Jane rain, right? Yes, sir. There is a good chance. There is a good chance, Brad, that we will have, a southward shift over the next 48 hours, at least a small one. There's usually is a small southward shift in the model data. So I don't think we're done yet with the shifts in the data. We're going. It's a windshield wiper, right? The storm moves south, and then it moves back north, and then it comes back down. And then, yeah, it's going to be a headache of the next few days for me here. But we're going to get through it, and we're going to do this the right way, and we're going to get through this together. So thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. So I appreciate you guys tuning in with me this evening to a little different edition of Kirby's Weather Snapshot. I will be live again tomorrow. We'll do tomorrow at 4:30 again to talk more about what I see. Hopefully, we'll have more confidence. Maybe even have some total maps come out. But for right now, at least, I am not confident in major or in showing snowfall or ice accumulations or anything. But I'll leave you with this. Like I said a minute ago, the potential exists and is very real for a very impactful ice storm across southern Middle Tennessee. Okay, and whether or not we get the warm air, the warm nose to move in with the low pressure track is something we'll just have to keep an eye on. But I do believe that the potential is there for a very impactful ice storm across southern Middle Tennessee. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of Kirby's Weather Snapshot, or Weather Channel, or STN Weather Channel Forecast Update, I guess is what I'm calling it. But I will be back here in the studio tomorrow, 4:30. We'll do another live stream, hopefully answer some more questions and kind of get the ball rolling on stuff. But um, we're gearing up for an event, but right now the confidence is just a little too low to go into more detail, unfortunately. So that's how southern storms are. If you know, if you want to be a forecaster in the South, you got to deal with these complicated winter storm setups. And every single year we deal with at least one. And here we are in 2026 dealing with one. Hopefully we don't have another one, but we still got a lot of winter left to go, folks. Still got a lot of winter left to go. So thank you guys for tuning in to this edition here. I could ramble on for hours and hours, but thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you back around tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. for our next live weather update. Have a blessed Wednesday evening.
Accurate local weather without the mainstream hype. You're watching the Southern Tennessee Weather Channel.